Liret from the French Worker Co-op National Organization, and I'm looking more especially after the human resource and education and training programs for our co-ops, which are members of our organization, and I'm also the editor-in-chief of the French Worker Co-op magazine, which name is Participer. You can read online also as Co-op News. And well, I'm here because I was invited, and we were invited as a French Worker Co-op organization to witness and bring in testimony to UK co-ops about what's going on in France and how the worker co-ops and the co-ops in France go, and about the business environment in our country. And well, we are very delighted and honored to be here because we don't know enough each other, and we have to learn from each other. And in this way, I hope I can bring some useful information for Welsh and Great Britain people from working for UK co-ops. And well, I learn also a lot from what I hear here in this Congress. Of course, what's interesting for a French guy and a French worker co-op man like me, it was yesterday afternoon with real concrete examples of what kind of co-op you have here, and it was in this way very interesting. Yeah, sure. We are very surprised that despite the very hard crisis we face for 3 or 4 years, and worker co-ops in France last and are very strong and more strong. And well, it's because of their reserves and the way they manage their profits, and it's very interesting that worker co-ops are more solid than the equivalent of classical small businesses in France. And well, for the worker co-ops, our movement is very dynamic in France. For I should say 15 years, we know regular, long-term and growth, and it's very interesting because at the first time in the history we know that kind of situation of slow but regular, and each year, from year to year, we have 2 or 4% more co-ops, and I should say 2 or 4 more employees in all the business sectors, because our worker co-ops are disseminated in all the different kind of business sectors. And well, there's a real something interesting that's going on in France about the business environment and the political environment, because since 2012 we have a new president and a new government, and we have now a special minister in the government linked to the economic minister, and which is dedicated to co-ops and mutuals and to enhance and empower that kind of economy. And it's very interesting because we have now a real person to talk to in the government, and they want to help us to develop more the model. And they are preparing just nowadays a draft bill that will be submitted next November, I should say. And we hope that it's a draft bill about the whole social economy, not only co-ops, but the whole social economy. But they will prepare, and we work on that with them, and we work we prepare some different measure to empower especially worker co-ops, and especially in the situation of business transfers to employees. Not business transfer for ailing firms, because you know, of course, all the media talk about the ailing firms each time employments are threatened, and the media just talk about that. And for this reason, the worker co-op model is very linked in the image of people to that kind of takeover by employees when the firm is ailing. But it's only 5% of the creations of our co-ops we have in France. And in 2012 we have, for instance, 250 new co-ops which were created, and there were more than 70% that are only I should say, people gathering together to create a new enterprise because they want to work differently than they used to do before. Do inspire of what's going on in other countries, like in Spain. They voted a social economy law also, like in Portugal also, and of course since 1985 they have in Italy the Marcora law, and it's an inspiration for us too, sure. I was told that the figures show that in this special and very dramatic situation of crisis in Greece and Spain too, that in the co-ops are more resilient. They resist more, and because of the job losses in classical on the whole economy in Spain is about, well, I should say about 25% of unemployment rate, and they lost in Spain co-ops less jobs, and the rates are real quite better. So it's definitely a more resilient model. Well, personally, it's on my own opinion, but I think the International Year of Cooperatives was a very good opportunity to, to create relationship inside the co-op world, and just to be more conscious and aware of what we are throughout the world between France and other countries, and it was a very good opportunity for ICA just to gather all the different families and just to stimulate the belonging feeling between us. In terms of, I should say, outside more visibility, it's I don't know if it's a real opportunity.